Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dynamite book. Unfortunately, I am your only host today. Dani is off being amazing, important, fantastic, all of the different things that she typically does. And so I am doing this show by myself today. So expect it to be fairly short, but still wanted to check in since we missed last week. So happy that you all could join. Hold on for a second. I'm gonna make sure that everybody on Twitter knows. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. I feel like we haven't done this show. I'm trying to think if we did it after All Out, but obviously I was in Chicago for All Out. But yeah, there's been a lot going on. So let's start with the show. Dynamite. Look, we started off rough. I would be completely honest. I was not a fan of how Dynamite opened. I was not a fan at all. I think that a 20-minute Jericho opener just doesn't make sense. But well, no, there's no but. It's just flat out true. Like it just doesn't make sense to do like a 20-minute Jericho opener. And honestly, I understand that there's a lot of TV money must be coming in, and I know like they're not super strapped for cash, but you have to be crazy to think that yes, let's use this lead in to push a Jericho match for 20 minutes. Then after that, we have a hook match. We're back to doing squash matches. I will be honest, the only thing I liked from that first hour, I did enjoy like the Yuta BCC stuff. I enjoyed Mox and Pac, which I think is absolutely incredible. I think that Pac is absolutely incredible in this role. I enjoyed the women's match, the women's tag match, and so I guess that I'll go like straight into that. I enjoyed that women's match. I didn't like the finish. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a super big fan of dirty finishes. Um, I'm not a big fan of DQ finishes at all. I understand where they're going. I do like the fact that they have some direction from Mariah because I think for a while it felt like she lost she had won the championship, but they had no plan for her post Tony. So I do like the fact that she does have like, some motion going on. Obviously, I love Yuka Sakazaki and I'm glad that she's back. I was really impressed with Collision this past week of just how many women were showcased and how they got all of those stories to intertwine. So I think that was cool. And so like obviously them intertwining resulted in the tag match that we saw tonight. Queen Aminata and Yuka Sakazaki versus Serena Deeb and Mariah May. Listen, Queen Aminata is a woman. Wow. I'd pledge allegiance to her. When she walks in the room, when she shows up on camera, it feels like so regal. It's hard to put into words, but no, like Queen Aminata. What a time. I said they put the tag belts on them. And some people are like, what do you mean? They don't have them as tag belts. I know what I said. Put the tag belts on Yuka and the Queen. They was already doing tag maneuvers better than half of the actual tag teams in the division. I'm here for it. So I was a fan of that. What I was also a fan of is after that match, we had that fantastic Mina Shirakawa video package. Listen, it doesn't seem like they're hiding it at this point. So I think we can all speak freely. Mina's like all but one, definitely all elite. And I think I was catching up on Stardom over the past weekend and she just doesn't fit anymore. Her star quality, and this is not me saying that you can't be a big star in Stardom in Japan, because that's not true. I think that there are a lot of people in Stardom who feel like their star power is perfect for Stardom and like that they are thriving and they feel like the biggest thing in the world. But Mina feels weird in the sense of you can tell her star quality, like what she brings to the table, feels very out of place in current Stardom, and it doesn't look like they're going to do the work to make things adapt around her, which makes it even more, which creates even bigger of a feeling that her days in Stardom are numbered, which I think is a good thing. Where she is in her career, this will likely be her last or second to last like big contract that she signs, full-time contract. And so I'm all for just, testing the waters. And she obviously has acclimated very well to the Western style. I think like she's so charismatic. And the thing is, what she did in Stardom was become one of the better workers. And so now she's not even just charismatic, she's also a really good wrestler. And on the AEW women's roster, she will be one of the great wrestlers. And so I think it's a win-win for everybody. I think every time her presentation in AEW Ring of Honor has just been excellent. And I wish that Stardom had understood better what they have with her. But I digress. It is what it is. That's why we love options in wrestling. And also the thing is, Stardom can lose Mina, and honestly, it's not going to make a huge difference to them. It sucks, but that's just the truth of she's never been like considered a top girl for them. And even when she was the white belt champion for like 3 weeks. Literally. What other Stardom wrestlers do I see making the jump to AEW? As of right now, none. I don't see any in the foreseeable future unless Azumi wants to test the waters. She's the only person. Oh, Thekla too. Yeah, I can see that. I could see. I'm not. I'm interested to see, because here's the thing. I think Azumi had a very interesting 5-star run, which made me think maybe now if Stardom is going to finally pull the trigger on her. Because yes, I think in America, when you hear that somebody is like a 21, 22-year-old phenom, prodigy or something, you assume like, oh, they have all the time in the world to be champion or something, which they do in a sense. But you have to think, Azumi started wrestling when she was 9. She's like an 11-year vet on that roster. And, and I felt like she got kind of got like, I don't know, what's the best way to say it? I don't want to say like sequestered. She kind of got like confined to like that high speed belt, that high speed style, which obviously she's a incredible high speed wrestler. I think Starlight Kid is also one of those people too. Kind of got like, really confined to that high speed role. But I think that she's outgrown it, like not outgrown the style of high speed wrestling, because I think she's always going to be a high speed wrestler. But I think that she is been in a place to do more, like been in a position where she should be doing more. And I think also too of even seeing how she came to America during WrestleMania weekend and how she didn't wear her traditional Queen's Quest, stuff at the time. Like she was wearing, a very distinct look. She wanted to stand out. She wanted to be more individual rather than a part of her faction. And so I think she's a person to keep an eye on. I think Thekla is also like, I think she's a no-brainer. I think after a certain point. But yeah, I think Mina's obviously first. And here's the thing. I hate to say it, but other than from a death perspective, especially as related to Azumi, none of these people are top stars for Stardom, at least as singles wrestlers. So they could lose them, and it's honestly not going to make that much of a difference. I think Azumi will probably be the biggest one. I think like she offers a lot of depth to the Stardom roster, like on shows. If she's in a match, especially if she's in a singles match, it's going to be good. Like, yeah, I think she's a person. She's been dependable for so long. But Stardom has several people like that. I mean, listen, I'm a Hazuki stan, so I know what it's like to have your fave like constantly like saying, "Oh, they're dependable, they're a good hand," stuff like that. So I digress. Maybe Mayu fakes everyone out thinking she's going to America and gets the Okada level AEW deal. Listen, the internet would literally break. The internet is about to break anyway. Like, I think this Tony Storm match that's upcoming with Mayu for the IWGP Women's Championship is very interesting. Very interesting because I was under the impression, obviously nobody said this, but I just kind of got the feeling that Mayu wasn't going to do anything related to AEW in any capacity. So it's interesting. Now, she said that she's interested in potentially facing some AEW talent. So it's going to be a very interesting, I think, final quarter of this year as we go into Wrestle Dynasty. And obviously that first week of January, you got big shows coming from just about everybody. Multiple big shows from Stardom, New Japan, Marigold, Tej, Noah. So yeah, who knows? Next we had also there was a private party video there I really enjoyed when they were calling out for the trio titles that they are going to be challenging for a Rampage, not Rampage, but Grand Slam. I'll get to that later. And also Christian Cage. Shout out to Christian Cage. Listen, he hates he's going to talk about all of your fathers like a dog, but about his son, Christian Cage don't play them games with y'all at all, and I do respect it. I'm interested to see where this Kip Sabian stuff goes. Feels like they've been teasing it for a while, but who knows what's going to happen. We had another great video package for Nigel and Brian, which I really enjoyed. I've said this on Twitter, but having access to that Ring of Honor library is so amazing. Like, I think it's so amazing. I think especially now, like, think about like this past year, right? Of just like, think about how much more Sting's retirement stuff could have hit if they had access to his WCW feud, right? Obviously, it was still amazing, and they did a beautiful job with like what they were able to get, right? But I think that it was very evident. I think it's very evident, like with this Nigel and Brian feud, how much more is added by being able to have all of their stuff right there. Like all that stuff, like literally, like right there. Having like all these former Ring of Honor faithfuls and champions do it. That's fantastic. I know Mayu's not leaving Japan. This is all just jokes. Okay, so I read all the interviews. I know it's okay. But like I was saying, I just really am looking forward to next week more than anything. Nigel versus Brian is going to be absolutely fantastic, and I don't know, like I don't even care how the match goes. I think it's just one of those moments of just seeing them stand across the ring from each other. It's going to be more than enough for me. So I'm a fan. Also, who's next? Claudio, Mox, Marina obviously came out there. They were supposed to speak. Private Party gets involved, and they start getting whooped. This is my problem. I am not against building Private Party back up. I just don't understand why they have to get like beat down all the time. And I get some people were like, well, they're trying to tell the story. You don't understand. Listen, I understand what's happening. I watch the show every week, just like you. I understand. But the thing is, Private Party has gotten beat up, beat down numerous times before we even entered this angle. So it's understandable for actual Private Party fans to be like, I don't know about this. I don't feel comfortable with this yet. And I will stand by that. Now, because it's Mox, do I think that they're going to get over eventually? Yes. Do I think it's going to be a good time eventually? Yes. Do I think that I hope that they're building towards something meaningful so they can finally win gold? Yes. But I don't think that them selling for Marina is a good idea. And the reason why is this. I love intergender wrestling. I think it's great. And if AEW was a company that embraced intergender wrestling, I think it would be awesome. But because you have not embrace those things, and you have clearly set up that power differential, like at least in kayfabe, they look crazy. But I mean, Mox is Mox, so he broke his hand, and it was pretty freaking cool. So I don't know. Yes, Chloe. Like this will probably be beneficial in the end. I hope, but can't say I love it. I think that's also the thing too of just, and also on Twitter, y'all got to get better about this. About um, especially like with women saying their opinions. You don't have to explain what happened. People know what happened. That just doesn't mean that they have to like it, and that's okay. But I digress. That was cool. Obviously, Darby came out of there with his one shirt and his one jacket, like he always does. Bless. Um, I think Mox versus Darby is going to be really cool. I think it's going to be awesome. Yeah, I can't really argue with that. I also am very moved by Evil Mox. I really hate it too. I really hate how much I love this. I hate how much I'm invested. John Moxley is obviously one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And the fact that he has caused so much emotional distress to both Bryan Danielson and Wheeler Yuta, and I'm still like, exactly, fantastic. I'm not proud of that myself, honestly, but we move. So it is what it is. Next we had a scapegoat promo. Listen, I don't know what Jack Perry is doing on this bus, but I fuck with it. Listen, I'm here for it. I don't know what he's doing on this bus. And where he I have no idea, but I'm here for it. And it's fun. And he's taking the scapegoat bus all over America. I don't hate it. Next we had Ricochet versus Beast Mortos. Listen, we knew this match was going to be good, but they did the dance. Okay, they did the dance, and I feel like it was a moment when Beast Mortos, he did something. I was like, this ain't Stanford. Woo! I said, this is, I feel like that was very much so. Ricochet's like, yeah, you're back to like real graps, buddy. Like, yeah, get accustomed really quickly. I would also like to say in the um in the I can't string my words together. What's it? Promo that Ricochet cut later in the night to Will Ospreay was so good. And he's one of those people. Ricochet is not a talker. He's not a good talker at all. But when they caught him like right after the match, when he's like very in tune with what he's supposed to be doing, or the adrenaline still pumping, I don't know. That was the best I've really ever heard him sound. It sounded like straightforward. He got straight to the point. It sounded real. It didn't sound overly rehearsed. And I will say, one thing that I am noticing with a lot of the people who are like fresh out of that WWE style is it takes them a minute to not sound rehearsed. And I think like he's a good example. I think Mercedes has been a good example. And so it was cool to see him he sounded so much more natural. I think the stuff with him and Ospreay was great. The fact that they are wrestling each other on Dynamite 5th anniversary, man, talk about a new era. I said they really must be announcing that TV deal on that day. But I'm a fan. I'm a fan. He's still getting his feet underneath him, but this was good. I'm a fan. Next, we had a great video package about Hangman done by the amazing Tiger Style. Bing bong. And after that, we went straight into Hangman speaking to Tony Schiavone. Listen, I was one of those people. Hangman said, y'all was cheering for Swerve. Y'all thought I didn't see you. And I was lying so bad. I said, no, not me. I said, but, and tell me, let me know if y'all felt like called out when Hangman was saying, y'all was cheering for Swerve, etc. And, I felt like, no, of course not. I was rolling with you. Come on, man. caught us in 4K. I don't know. He saw everybody doing that Nana dance. We thought we were hiding. He got us. He got us. But no, he's fantastic. Hangman Adam Page, absolutely fantastic. He always looks like he's a loose cannon, has a screw loose. He just looks deranged, like the eyes, like yeah, Chloe, exactly. She said, I can't even lie. I had to turn my ears off because I was absolutely cheering for Swerves at times. Like I said, bro, if y'all could have been a fly on the wall at that Forbidden Door match, it was Swerve versus Ospreay. Hangman would have probably knocked my head between the dishwasher and the refrigerator. I don't know. But yeah, I just don't understand. Out of all the people you could take your anger out on, Tony Schiavone, he said absolutely not. He said Tony Schiavone, you were one of them, weren't you? Somebody said my hair looks nice tonight. Thank you. I need a retwist. But Tony Schiavone, he said you were one of them, weren't you? You was one of them people who was cheering Swerve, weren't you? He genuinely looks like a spooked animal. It's actually insane. Somebody said on Twitter earlier this week of just like Hangman could have a really outstanding acting career, could be the best wrestler turned actor ever after he's done with wrestling. And I agree. Like the facial expressions are truly top tier. Like he's absolutely insane. Obviously, when he tried to fight Tony Schiavone, Jeff Jarrett comes out and brings out his entire clown car full of people, including Karen, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh. And I would like to say this: Hangman Page and Satnam Singh should be wrestling a Collision. I would like to see it. I know we're eventually going to do this Hangman Jeff Jarrett Texas death match. Hopefully, I ask that we don't drag this out. We don't need this to drag until Wrestle Dream. Let's do it at Grand Slam. You have Dynamite and Collision Grand Slam. Let's just go ahead and do it. I think this is so much fun for now. I think this should be so fun, short, sweet, really cutesy, really demure. Let's do it at Grand Slam. And then let's get Hangman a real opponent. I need him up against real top guys. I need him running through your favorite baby faces like the Tomb Raider. I need him back on that path, back on that time, because I need him being world champion soon. And me and Charlie from West Russell Pierce, we had to re-record this. This was supposed to be out last week, but we had to re-record it due to sound issues. But we did a full breakdown of the Hangman Swerve feud. And one of the things that we mentioned was we've never seen an unhinged heel champion in AEW. We've had heel champions. We've had the chicken shit heels that like to run away or, in suits or whatever, like the Kennys, the MJFs, those type of people. But we've never seen like an unhinged crazy heel. Somebody who's a loose cannon, who's literally wreaking hell over the roster, not trying to flex power or anything. Like they're just legitimately crazy. We've never seen that in a world champion. And who's the perfect person to do that? Hangman. Duh. So I think he needs to be in the world title picture. By all in, y'all in, he needs to be back in the world title picture. But for now, at least for the next couple weeks. And by next couple weeks, I mean by next week, we don't talk about that man here, the Pepsi man. I don't get into that. That he's on somebody else's show. I don't get into that. But yeah, I think that world champion Hangman needs to be the move. But until then, the Jarrett Texas death match should be really fun. I think it's going to be a blast. I do hope that they do it sooner rather than later. And after that, we had what was after that? Oh, we had the main event, my favorite part, my absolute favorite part. Listen, for somebody who hated the Dynamite main event like I did last week, this was more than enough apology. I absolutely enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. I would also like to say this. Everybody who's been talking raggedy about my EVPs, about the young bucks, shut up. You look stupid. Look at the material. Look at the material. The young bucks are not to be played with when they are locked in. I told you once, I told you twice. My goats are not washed. They were just uninspired. And you put them in the ring with some inspiring people, and look what they did. They were going crazy. They were going crazy. Y'all, exactly, Jalen. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. No. I'm putting this up there. Bucks are washed. We need to have some serious conversations about Okada. Shut up. Okada is Okada. And I think people need to understand if, like, this is what happens when you get all of your New Japan news from news clips 2 weeks before Forbidden Door. You cannot work Tokyo Dome style main events every week. Your body will fall apart. Have you seen some of the New Japan goats who have been going nonstop forever? Have you seen the state of their bodies by the time that they are 40? Let alone 45. Look at Tetsuya Naito. Look at Hiroshi Tanahashi. Okada is protecting his body. And guess what? When he's in that mode and he's in singles matches, he shows up. It'd be one thing if he's just phoning in some of these performances, but especially these last couple weeks, come on. Did you see that Claudio match? Even the Pac match at Dynasty, like, let's be real, guys. Like, we don't have to lie. You can, if you just say, I am upset that Okada didn't go to the company I wanted him to go to, I would respect you so much more if you just said that, because that's an opinion. And everybody's entitled to their opinion. But to lie and say, like, he's washed, the aura is gone. No, it's not. He's been who he's always been. Even the comedy stuff, that's who he's always been. That's literally who he's always been. He's being himself. He's literally acclimated to a completely different environment. And he's doing a fantastic job. They've been talking crazy about kids. Yeah, don't worry, we're gonna get there. Don't worry about it. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. Put some respect in their names. So Okada is one of the greatest and most influential wrestlers of our generation. He showed it. So are the Young Bucks. This whole 6-man tag match was literally built around 4 of the greatest wrestlers of our lifetime in Young Bucks, Okada, and Ospreay versus the next 2 up, in my opinion. Which, I mean, not versus, and the next 2 up, and Takeshita and Fletcher. This is some of the best wrestling. Like, my thing is, if you don't like something, you don't have to lie about it. You like to say that they were washed. And here's the thing, I can say in the same breath that the tag division is the shits and still say that the Bucks are not washed. I think that there's so many moving factors. And I think that we're seeing that when everybody is inspired, everybody eats. And everybody ate tonight. And that's really all to it. So yeah, everybody can cry about it. I know that's not going to make the think pieces end. People are still going to say what they're going to say. We're watching a show with Jericho, Saraya, and Billy Gunn on it. Calling anyone else wash is just bait, you know? And that's really all there is to it. Fantastic, outstanding performance. Takeshita, the way that Takeshita was built in this match, it reminded me of how he was built in the first All Together tag with all the young guys of the young Japanese generation. And he was just a killer through the entire match. Who was it? It was Kaito Kiyomiya, Shota Umino, and Yuki Ueno versus Takeshita, Shun Skywalker, and Yuya Uemura. And in that 6-man tag, Takeshita was built as like this record. Even when they lost the match, he didn't get pinned, but it was just fantastic. That's what I'm talking about. And I watched that match and I said, I want Takeshita to be booked like this in AEW. And that's how he looked in the 6-man tag tonight, which I think is incredible. And also too is was always looking forward to this Takeshita Okada match before they even came face to face, just because I mean, just the two of them on paper, right? You expect something great. But every time they interact, I am more and more convinced that this could be special and this could be a generation defining feud. And because here's the thing, Okada has not had that match yet. That match that I'm looking for as far as him with a younger talent, specifically a younger Japanese talent, like having that match with the next generation. I have not seen that yet because he didn't do it yet. He didn't do it with New Japan guys. And I hate to be like that. And I'm not going to say like everybody's just not him. But if you look at a lot of these, I think it was obvious in the G1. You look at some of these young guys over in New Japan versus Takeshita, it's really no competition. And I think like maybe Okada was just being a dickhead, or maybe he was just, trying to maybe he was just waiting on somebody who he felt was more worth his time. And I think Takeshita is certainly worth his time. But I also think that Takeshita challenges Okada too. I think Okada doesn't need, but I think that it's important for him to have that standout Rainmaker Classic. I think that he's had some great matches in AEW. Like I said, that Claudio match was great. The Pac match was great, but I think he still needs to have that excellent match that we know he can do, and have enough time and everything to do it. And I think that Takesha's obviously that opponent. And I think that you can get so many matches, whether it's the C2 final, Wrestle Dynasty. This is going to be a feud that's going to endure. And I think they're going to wrestle each other all over the world, which is super exciting. The reformation of United Empire was beautiful. I think also the little tidbits of Takeshita refusing to dap up Kyle Fletcher at first, and then eventually he does at the end, but he still don't fuck with Ospreay. I like that. It's interesting. And then like even with Kyle and Will doing the Coriolis, the Aussie Open tribute was amazing. Listen, man, Mark Davis, get well soon. We miss you, man. We really miss you. I really missed Mark Davis today. Like, no joke. I think he's incredible. Yeah. I think this was awesome. I genuinely have nothing else to say about it, but the entire match was absolutely fantastic. And I'm a huge fan. I would also like to say, I said I was going to get to him, but would it really be the Dynamite book if we didn't talk about him? Kenny Omega has been sighted in Japan with Kota Ibushi. They are training. The Golden Lovers are back. And I know a lot of people have been saying, so I've seen, not a lot of people, I'm going to be honest, but some people have been saying, well, I want Kenny to be a single star. I don't know if I want to see Kota Ibushi. You should leave Kota Ibushi at home. I want to be the one. I have been waiting all day to tell you this. I'm going to tell you right now, we don't care. Do you want to know why we don't care? Because what Kenny Omega does with his life at this point in his career, at 40 years old, after being the best bout machine, after working the majority of his career in the hardest possible place on your body, Japan, coming to the U.S., and working this style on television in his late 30s, and he's now in his early 40s. He doesn't have to explain shit to you. Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi have sacrificed their bodies for the sport of pro wrestling, for the heights of pro wrestling, more than just about almost any wrestler of this generation, with the odds that they beat, with the things that they did, the surfaces they jumped off of, the risks that they took, They have done it all, been through it all, going through hellacious injuries, hellacious recovery times to get back to this. And then if this in this portion of their career, all they want to do is team up again, well, guess what they're going to do? They're going to team up again, and I'm going to love it, and you're going to love it. Or you could just stop watching. I really don't care at this point. A lot of times I try to like be very diplomatic about, certain topics because I realize everybody has a right to opinion. But when it comes to this, Golden Lovers, I will be your shield. I will tell every single person to shut the fuck up on your behalf because it's not about you. It's not about you. Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi, whether you want to admit him or not, they have earned the right to write the next chapter of their careers. But listen, I was in the room for Kota Ibushi versus Naomichi Marufuji. I was there where I saw the ambulance pass by in Tokyo, waiting outside the arena. I understand like where he was as far as fitness and health, and I was very scared as well. And obviously, I will always be concerned for wrestler safety, but I actually watched DDT. I've actually been watching his matches. I even watched GLEAT for this man. And he's clearly recovering. He's clearly on the up and up. He looks healthier than ever. And he looks happier than ever. So, like, let's not do this. You can't really call yourself a Kenny Omega fan and slander Kota Ibushi and call him worthless. You're not a real Kenny Omega fan. You're not an elite fan. And let's just be real. You're just not. Kenny Omega and any wrestler, he's not a puppet. Wrestlers are not toys for you to push up, 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 and up, and up to do crazy things and death-defying things. And the minute that they show any type of humanity or weakness, you cast them away like a used tissue. That's not how this works. And I know what y'all like to do to other wrestlers, etc., but not here. When it comes to the Golden Lovers, you know how long I've been waiting for this? Woo! I'm about to make a name for myself here. You know how long we've been waiting for this? So no, the slander, you will get blocked from here, then, now, forever, together. How about that? You will get blocked. So there's that. But shout out to the Golden Lovers. They look great. They look happy. And I think that's what's important. I think like it's very clear that a lot of the elite, as we've seen, like I think both in kayfabe and on a personal level in these last couple of years, they had also obviously lost a lot of their motivation. And I think it's really cool to see them, even Hangman with all his derangement, it's really cool to see them locked in. Like they all are really invested in what they're doing. Like they love what they're doing again. And that's what's important because I'm a firm believer, I've said it on this show and I'll continue to say it. When wrestlers are inspired and genuinely motivated by the work that they're doing, I think that they can create something generational that will outlive them. And when wrestlers, it's one thing for wrestlers to create something that's enjoyable. But when wrestlers create stuff that is inspirational, that it genuinely inspires, that is the type of stuff that can change the world. So, that's Dynamite, folks. The only other thing is, hey, the AEW TV deal, everybody's talking about it. I think it's going to formally get announced at that Dynamite 5th anniversary show. I've seen a lot of crazy, stupid, dumb takes. Hilarious, though. Keep moving the goalposts. The only one that I think that is worth even somewhat commenting on is like I saw something today, I think on one of the shows, somebody was saying that maybe we don't even need an alternative anymore. I don't understand why they're getting more money. As long as there are even one wrestling fan who wants something different, we will always need an alternative. Alternatives should always exist for just about anything. Nobody should be forced to give up a medium that they love because there's no product available to directly represent it in the way that they would like it represented. Nobody should have to give up pro wrestling because there's no type of pro wrestling that exists to appeal to them. We saw that happen pre-2019 for so many people, for thousands of people. And it might not be millions and millions and millions and millions and millions, but it's something, and people are meaningful. Variety should always exist. You know, I mean, look at All Out of just there's a community full of wrestling fans who never felt seen by the mainstream until AEW started. I mean, even like look at what Chris and Willow did in that street fight. Look at the cage match. Look at all these different things. Like, look at Anarchy in the Arena. There's so many different things that you will never be able to find anywhere else. And that's not even tribalistic things of like, because me personally, I don't care if AEW ever becomes the number one company. I don't care if how much money, as long as any roster, anybody who got Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, and all these people on the payroll, that if I'm the only person in attendance, I'm just gonna be the only person in attendance. I don't care. There should always be room for an alternative. There is always room for an alternative. The fact that this show exists, the fact that you guys are even in the chat right now talking to me, that's proof there should always be an alternative. And not just AEW, right? Like, and not just AEW. TNA, hey, it's on the up and up. Indie wrestling. Some indie promotions are really on the uptick. Look at what Deadlock Pro is doing. Like, look at West Coast Pro. Everybody deserves to be represented. And also, beyond that, of what fans want, there should always be opportunity for more people to have jobs. There are so many people who are employed in the wrestling business because AEW exists. And that alone, people being able to feed their families and being able to, you know, better their lives while doing what they love, that alone should just justify the need for any alternative. So, and also, I hate monopolies. So there's that. But without any further ado, thank you all for watching. I think, did we get out all of our shout outs? Yes, to Konosuke, Takeshita, Hangman Page, and Kenny Omega. We do it every day. We got those out. But until next time, you can find me at Lyric Wrestling on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe at Lyric Swinton on YouTube. You can find Dani at Dani Don't Miss and Black Girl Wrestling. Hopefully she'll be back next week, but she was working tonight. She's so famous. You know her. She's always working. No rest for the best. But anywho, we will talk to you later for Grand Slam. And the week after that, we have Dynamite Anniversary. So there's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming. But I'll see you later, guys. Bye.